more I buy watches from Aliexpress, the more I realise there are some amazing affordable bargains on there that are really worth considering. But the more I buy them, the more I also really start to realise there is one style of watch that is really worthwhile considering, and that is these sort of military style watches. Military style watches have this certain look to them. They're relatively simple, they have a relatively simple case shape, and there are quite a few different variations amongst them. And I think on Aliexpress, these might be the ones that absolutely are worthwhile having in a collection because they're affordable, they look great, and they have a certain look to them that sort of seem to suit this more simple style watch. Hello, you're watching James. My name's James, you're watching me, and I am talking about watches. And today I'm talking about an affordable military-inspired Merkur watch from Aliexpress. It is my first from Aliexpress in this style, and I have to admit there was a big issue when I was trying to choose this watch. And that is because there were so many options available. There were different brands available, there were different case sort of dimensions, different case styles available, and different dials. I obviously ended up with this one, and this ended up being actually probably one of the more expensive ones on there. However, it was only 165 Australian dollars. And this is one of the more expensive ones. Now, this one is a mechanical watch. There are also some quartz versions out there that are even cheaper, but I particularly like mechanical watches, and that's why I wanted it. But for $165, I've ended up with a really good looking watch, a fairly simple looking watch, mechanical watch, and something that is rather special, something that I think I am really going to enjoy. Now guys, if you are interested in this watch after this first impressions video, I'm going to leave one of those affiliate links down below. But let's flip the camera around now and let's check out in a first impression style video this Merkur World War II military inspired watch. So here we have my Merkur WW212. Comes in what is quite surprisingly great. I think the packaging is almost as good as the watch, if not better. What a great travel case. Interesting colours, but really well presented. Has all your documents up in here, which is really cool, and the watch is presented really nicely as well. I can't believe a watch at this price comes with such great packaging, and certainly packaging that I could reuse. But obviously we're here to see the watch, aren't we? And when I did pull it out of that amazing packaging, there were 4 things that stood out to me straight away. Firstly is the overall look. I think that looks brilliant. I think it's a great looking watch. Relatively simple, military inspired, and it was certainly affordable as well, which is number 2 on my list of things that stood out to me is, wow, how did I get this watch for this amount of money? Especially since it contains a manual wind movement. Yep, you can wind that one up, mechanical hand winding movement. Number 2, value for money, love it. Number 3 that stood out to me, unfortunately, was this strap. It's actually okay quality, it's soft. I don't think it's real leather, doesn't have that real feel or smell to it. But I just don't think I'm a big fan of black straps on watches. I think I'm starting to understand this about myself. I just don't think it really suits it. I think it makes it feel a little bit too dressy. I think this would be great on a dark brown strap, but that may be just me. The hardware is actually pretty good on it. I'm starting to notice that sort of AliExpress hardware on sort of straps seems to be getting better, even on these affordable watches. But then there was the number 4 thing that stood out to me, and it is the hands. These are probably some of my favourite shaped hands. These sort of sword hands, I guess. I like how the hour sort of gets bigger as it goes out. I do have to admit though, even though this is a lovely looking minute hand, it might possibly be a tiny little bit too long. And that sub-second hand, it feels a little bit small as it's going around until it touches those minute markers. And then I go, okay, it's sort of designed to touch the minute markers, not to then sort of look at the second markers there. So yeah, I think it's okay. Initially I thought it was a bit small, but then I realized actually I think that actually is quite okay. Besides that, everything's printed on there. I think there's going to be a bit of loom on this one, which I think is going to be very fun to look at. Mineral crystal, which is exactly what I'm expecting, sort of like a boxed style, which sort of suits this aesthetics of this sort of vintage look. Brushing is actually pretty good. Bit of polishing on the side. A really cool case shape as well. And on the back, it's relatively simple, but we've got Merkur. We've got the lion head there. Quite like how they got these dots there, which obviously we can use to screw the case back off, but I think that sort of gives it a little bit of extra feature. And we got the Merkur sort of a symbol there on the crown there. Not screw down, just manually wind, straight from there. No ghost position, doesn't hack the second hand there. So I didn't really expect that either. But yeah, I think it's actually really cool, especially at this sort of price. And I think most people are going to appreciate this one on wrist because not only does it fit really nice, fit my 17 centimeter 6 3/4 inch wrist, sits down really nicely on that wrist, but it's really light and it's just really nice. And I think people with smaller wrists are really going to appreciate these sort of styles of watches. But I think bigger wristed people as well are going to appreciate it just because of the styling and the look and how it feels on wrist. And guys, if you enjoyed this first impression, maybe check out these two next.